Does that make sense? He knows I'm long, I'm tall, I'm fast, I'm rangy. I understand distance management and control. And if you want to flip that into a terrible wording, then you'll say what he said. But if you want to talk about it from an elite standpoint of view, I don't get hit, very rarely. It's never clean, it's never connected. Do you know what I mean? I'm always just out, and people don't have that success. I'm tricky on the feet, I'm tricky on the ground, I'm hard to touch, I'm hard to control, I'm hard to predict what I'm gonna do, I'm hard to read. All of those are elite stand-up and grappling skills. So from my point of view, there is nobody in this division that is a trickier matchup for Islam Makhachev. I'm 6'3", I'm long, I'm tall, I'm beautiful. I know how to use my hands, my feet. I know how to stop the takedown. I stopped 15 of 17 takedowns from Shavkat and Belal Muhammad. I know what I'm doing in this sport. 4 people in this sport since I made my UFC debut have double-digit wins. And me and Islam are 2 of the 4. This is the right fight. This is the fight that has to happen. And he can say anything he wants to say. He can make up any excuse he wants. He can say what he wants. Do what he wants to do. But when that cage door closed on August 15th and I'm stood across from him, I'm going to go out there and do everything I possibly can to put him unconscious and get my hand raised. Because that belt is coming home to double line. I genuinely, right now, it's by any means necessary. My hand gets raised by any means necessary. It could be first round knockout, it could be 5th round knockout, it could be submission, it could be a dog and dog back and forth war. As long as my hand gets raised, I've succeeded in achieving everything I want to achieve in this sport. And I do it against one of the best fighters we've generationally seen.
Ian Garry, he's a bit of a weird one, right? Like, he's a difficult guy to fight, difficult guy to look good against. He's long, he's rangy, he's pretty strategic in there. How do you feel like he matches up with Islam Makhachev?
He does well with Islam on the stand-up because he's rangy, he's tricky, all those. But on the ground, he doesn't. He does okay, but he doesn't survive on the ground, I don't think. I mean, well, okay, he might survive 5 rounds, but he won't get the best of Islam on the ground. That I'm 100% sure about that. On the stand-up, he's pretty tricky. So one punch can change everything on that. One kick, one punch, one knee. So that's a different story. But on the ground, I don't see him dominating. I see him surviving, possibly. So yeah, I can see that. And then the takedown defense that he has is decent, but not great enough to stop Islam from taking him down. But again, sometimes we'll go in there and we'll decide that we're gonna do this with Islam, and next thing you know, next round we'll say, okay, take him down now, or next thing you know, next round we'll go stand up, because he's that good. So we're not looking at going in any specific game plan for anybody, because he's good everywhere. He's good everywhere. So, I've said it too many times, and I think people should remember some of my back interviews. And if they look at that, then they go, we're not going to prepare for Ian Garry per se. We'll just prepare for an MMA fight. And Islam is good everywhere, so he'll practice everything.
And I'm telling you right now, this fight for Islam Makhachev may be a lot harder than what people think. Given all of the accolades that Islam Makhachev has, it's easy to just dismiss Ian Garry and say, listen, he's going to just run right through him. Okay, you could send him to Dagestan or Georgia for 20 years and still forget all about it.
Send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Okay, because Islam Makhachev is the GOAT. He's going to take him down. The man's Irish. They don't wrestle in Ireland, for crying out loud. Well, guess what? He's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's 17-1. He had a very, very close fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov. Ended the fight threatening the rear naked choke. He beat the former champion, Belal Muhammad, that wrestled the life out of Leon Edwards, okay? So this is a real fight. Before you start to think that this is just going to be one-way traffic, I'm telling you, this is going to be a lot tougher than what you think.
Islam Makhachev finally has his next challenger, and Ian Machado Garry isn't entering this fight just to compete. He believes he has everything needed to pull off one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. After months of speculation, Garry has explained why he sees flaws in Islam's game that nobody else has been able to exploit, and those comments have already added serious fuel to one of the sport's most anticipated matchups. For Garry, this fight carries far more meaning than a title opportunity. He's fully embracing the Ireland versus Dagestan storyline and wants to avenge one of Ireland's biggest defeats on the UFC stage. His mission is simple: defeat Islam Makhachev, bring the welterweight championship back home, and create a defining moment for Irish MMA. In Garry's eyes, this isn't just another championship fight, it's a chance to leave a lasting legacy.
Yeah, I take pride in this fight. I take pride in the fact that I'm going to be able to go out there and get a massive win back for my country at the highest stage, at the highest possible point in my career, with all the marbles on the line, the UFC world title. This is the second time Ireland and Dagestan meet in that Octagon for a world title, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that it's 1-1.
Garry has also made it clear that he isn't interested in taking shortcuts to UFC gold. Rather than chasing an easier route, he specifically wants the toughest challenge available. He believes that defeating the sport's top pound-for-pound fighter would eliminate every remaining question about his place in the division. According to Garry, beating Islam would instantly establish him as the undisputed best welterweight on the planet.
I have nothing but respect for him. I think he's absolutely cemented himself as the best fighter on the planet right now, and until he's beaten, he holds that status. What he's done in this career, in his career and over the last decade in the sport, has been second to none. A two-weight world champion, pound for pound #1, and on the verge of breaking the longest consecutive win streak in UFC history. It's nothing but exceptional. However, I've always said to you from the first time you spoke, well before I was in the UFC, to be the best, you have to beat the best. There is nobody else I would want to beat to prove that I'm the champion of the world. There is nobody else I'm more excited to fight and test myself against than this dominance in Islam Makhachev. He's earned that title as the pound for pound champion, the pound for pound #1 on the planet right now. That's the guy I want to take out. To me, to make sure that it's undeniable, when I beat him, I am the best welterweight on the planet, and arguably the #1 pound for pound fighter on the planet.
Not everyone shares that confidence. Renowned coach Javier Mendez believes Garry's confidence disappears the moment the fight reaches the ground. While he acknowledges Garry's movement, range, and striking ability, Mendez insists none of those weapons will matter once Islam closes the distance. In his view, Makhachev's wrestling and relentless top control would overwhelm Garry, leaving him with little more than a desperate attempt to survive before eventually being finished.
He does well with Islam on the stand-up because he's rangy, he's tricky, all those. But on the ground, he doesn't. He does okay, but he doesn't survive on the ground, I don't think. I mean, well, okay, he might survive 5 rounds, but he won't get the best of Islam on the ground. That I'm 100% sure about that. On the stand-up, he's pretty tricky. So one punch can change everything on that. One kick, one punch, one knee. So that's a different story. But on the ground, I don't see him dominating. I see him surviving possibly. So yeah, I could see that. And then the takedown defense that he has is decent, but not great enough to stop Islam from taking him down. But again, sometimes we'll go in there and we'll decide that we're gonna do this with Islam, and next thing you know, next round we'll say, okay, take him down now, or next thing you know, next round we'll go stand up, because he's that good. So we're not looking at going in any specific game plan for anybody because he's good everywhere.
Michael Bisping, however, gives Garry credit for refusing to back away from the challenge. During a discussion of Garry's comments, he highlighted the challenger's belief that Islam has never fought someone with his combination of height, speed, distance management, and striking accuracy. Garry has even welcomed the possibility of being taken down because he wants to prove that Islam cannot submit him before shocking the world by ending the champion's remarkable winning streak.
Ian Garry's very cocky. He believes in himself, and you might find that annoying and a little bit frustrating, okay? But he's a fighter. You're supposed to believe in yourself.
He's never fought someone as long and tall as me. He's not fought someone as fast as me. He's not fought someone who has the distance management, the boxing capabilities, the head movement that I did, but also the takedown defense. He might get me down. I hope he does, because I want to prove to the world that he can't submit me. I don't care if he's an internationally recognized master of Sambo or not. I'm going to bounce him on his skull. I'm going to take his title. I'm going to take his throne, and I'm going to finish that consecutive win streak. And I'll always be the guy that stopped history from happening.
Bisping also believes Garry's greatest advantage isn't knockout power, it's his intelligence inside the cage. He points to Garry's long reach, disciplined jab, constant movement, and effective push kicks as tools that could force Islam into an uncomfortable striking battle. Even if the performance isn't exciting for fans, Bisping believes Garry would gladly prioritize winning rounds over entertaining the crowd if it leads to a world title.
But it's the style that Ian Garry has. It is the length and the reach that he has. And it is his ability to silence out the crowd and not give a damn if you people are booing. If everyone in the arena is throwing their popcorn and the drinks and going, boo, this is garbage, because all Ian Garry is doing is dancing around, popping the jab, throwing the right hand, using push kicks to keep Islam away, he won't care, because on paper, or according to the judges, he's winning the fight. And his job is to win the fight and become the welterweight champion of the world.
At the same time, Bisping reminds everyone why Makhachev sits at the top of the sport. The champion owns victories over elite names, including Dustin Poirier, Alexander Volkanovski, Charles Oliveira, and Renato Moicano. With an incredible 28-1 professional record and 18 finishes, Islam has built one of the strongest resumes in modern MMA, making him one of the most complete and dominant champions the UFC has ever seen.
The career of Islam is ridiculous. When you look at the last few fights that he had, the people on his resume, it's insane. Jack Della Maddalena, Renato Moicano, granted on a day's notice, and he made it look easy, got it done in just 4 minutes. Before that, Dustin Poirier submitted him. Alexander Volkanovski 2 times in a row. Charles Oliveira, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Thiago Moises. When Thiago Moises was the real deal, when he was a contender, when he was coming up and he was very, very hungry. So as I say, he's on a run. The record of Islam Makhachev is 28 wins and 1 loss with 18 stoppages. And of course, if he can get a hold of Ian Garry and take him down, yeah, it's probably going to be easy. Ian will struggle to get back to his feet, and I don't think he can match Islam in terms of jiu-jitsu or submission grappling, okay? But
Bisping also emphasizes that one of Islam's greatest strengths is his professionalism. He believes Makhachev never underestimates opponents, prepares for every possible scenario, and approaches each fight with complete discipline. Because of that, Bisping says Garry will need the performance of his career and a nearly flawless strategy if he hopes to leave the Octagon with the championship.
the man is a serious professional. He will come in ready and prepped and ready to absolutely demolish Ian Garry if he doesn't bring his A game and a stellar game plan. The game plan, as I said, will be stick and move, and that might sound boring, but it could get the job done.
Chael Sonnen views this matchup from a different perspective. He argues that Islam Makhachev has reached the level of dominance where fans often expect him to win before the fight even begins. Comparing him to legendary athletes like John Jones, Roy Jones Jr., and Michael Jordan, Chael explains that certain competitors become so dominant they make uncertainty disappear. Yet he believes Ian Garry has the potential to change that narrative by presenting a challenge unlike any Islam has faced before.
So when I tell you that Ian Garry believes he's going to beat Islam Makhachev, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for a couple of reasons, and I'm going to come out right now and I'm going to make a prediction for you. This fight's going to be huge. And by the way, Islam about a month ago started teasing on his social media that he's got a big announcement coming soon. And I took a great joy in being able to inform Islam, no, you don't. There is nothing huge out there for Islam Makhachev. There was, and it was Ilia Topuria. It's now gone. And it's just because he's so good. John Jones had the same problem. Roy Jones Jr. in boxing had the same problem. They say, as a matter of fact, and I was told this by an executive on campus at ESPN, the worldwide leader of sport, that the only athlete that can get people to come watch for his greatness was Michael Jordan. That even though the fans knew no one's going to touch him, no one's going to stop him, the score is going to be off the charts, they couldn't wait. They'd buy a t-shirt, they'd wait in line, they'd pay a premium just to witness that level of greatness. And I was told this when John Jones was only 4 fights into the UFC. Wasn't champion, wasn't a main event, wasn't fighting for championship yet, but ESPN felt that they had identified him and then even made that comparison. So we think he can be the first athlete to be like Michael Jordan, where people will watch for his greatness, even though they know what the outcome is going to be. So I tell you that because while I do take an evil pleasure in letting Islam know people aren't that interested in you, that does make me feel good. I think this is going to be an exception. And I think it's going to be an exception because Ian Garry is going to change that view by the time they fight.
Sonnen also believes Gary's confidence borders on unbelievable, but he thinks that mindset could actually make him dangerous. He points to Gary's size, speed, boxing variety, and unique style as qualities that create unfamiliar problems for the champion. More importantly, Garry genuinely believes he can compete with Islam everywhere, including grappling. According to Chael, that level of belief is often what separates ordinary challengers from fighters capable of producing historic upsets.
Ian mentioned something in there. He says that Islam's never fought anybody as long as me. That is accurate, but I will tell you, it goes down a road that has proved to be less accurate, which is so many times when we haven't seen an athlete do something, a great athlete like Islam, we then jump to, therefore, he can't do that. I remember this with George St. Pierre, who had taken everybody down and beat them on the ground, 100% of people. And he's getting ready to fight Matt Hughes, and the world's saying, you're not going to be able to take him down. The world was right, so George threw a head kick and knocked him out. But that was the day that we found out that George could fight on his feet. Khabib had a difficult time taking Conor down, even failed on a couple of takedown attempts. Throws an overhand right and did more damage to Conor than Floyd did in 30 minutes. And that's where we find out, okay, Islam can box. But right, it's these moments, you don't know until you know, but very seldomly does it turn out to be true. Hey, this athlete's never gone in championship rounds and therefore he can't. Very seldomly does it end up to be a problem. Now,
as Sonnen continues his analysis, he argues that this matchup feels increasingly realistic because of Gary's mentality. In his opinion, Garry doesn't simply hope to compete, he truly believes he can stop Islam's reign and rewrite UFC history. Sonnen says Garry performs at his best when people doubt him, using criticism as motivation rather than pressure. That confidence, he believes, could transform what looks like another title defense into one of the biggest surprises the sport has ever witnessed.
Ian Garry also, here's the problem with Ian. He's better than he thinks he is. You watch Ian, you think he's just brash, confident, Irish man. To an extent. But he's got the right. Ian Garry, if he's not the best in the world, and that's what we're going to find out. If he's not the best in the world, he's top 3. Could you imagine? 6 billion men walk this earth and you can beat up all of them, but maybe 1 or 2. Could you imagine? Ian's that good. He just doesn't know it. I remember when Ian broke into the top 15 and he went and tattooed 15 on his body. I remember looking going, oh, he thinks that's an accomplishment. And for most people it would be. But I remember thinking, he doesn't know. He doesn't know he's one of the greats. He doesn't know where his career is going to go. He doesn't know he's going to main events. He doesn't know he's going to world championship fights. And now here we are, and I bet he agrees with me. I bet he's like, yeah, you know, I'm now on number 5. Maybe I can get that 1 erased and just leave the 5, or you know, maybe I beat Islam and I take the 5 off and I just leave the 1. Like he really shorted himself when he thought he was number 15. He wasn't 15 the day they called him 15. He was much closer to 6, to 8. He's better than he thinks he is, and he also does his best work when the house is on fire. Ian comes out and looks his absolute best when people think that he can't. Go see the Rakhmonov fight just as an example. He won many aspects of that fight. Rakhmonov won the contest as a whole, but Ian took his O away. Ian defended those positions. Ian showed that wrestling wasn't impenetrable. It's interesting. This interview is the first. But I do believe that Ian is going to convince the world of what I already know. He can win this fight.
Dan Hardy strongly disagrees with the growing hype around Gary's chances. He believes Islam possesses answers for every style in mixed martial arts, and that Gary's recent improvements won't be enough to overcome the champion's elite wrestling system. Hardy argues that even extensive jiu-jitsu training cannot prepare someone for the suffocating pressure and relentless grappling developed in Dagestan. In his view, once Islam secures control, Gary's striking, confidence, and momentum will quickly disappear under the champion's overwhelming pace.
Ian Garry for a long time has been saying that, you know, he is the future. Obviously, it's his nickname. Like, he sees himself as being there with the belt. He's visualized it, but now he's got Makhachev in the division. And I mean, Makhachev's got the kryptonite for every single person in the division. No matter where the fight goes, he's got the skills to challenge you and to cause you issues. Like, of course, since Ian Garry's, you know, been spending time in Brazil, been working on his jiu-jitsu, he's going to be far more confident in his ground game. But at the same time, like, I don't know if you're going to be able to replicate what Islam Makhachev can do to you. I think you would have to be in the wrestling room in Dagestan to really feel that kind of pressure. And what you got to remember is, like, that room right now, we keep signing a bunch of guys from Khabib's team. They're all like cookie cutter versions of each other. They're all lethal. They've all got great wrestling. They've all got that pressure style with good punching and kicking now. You know what I mean? Like, there's a really elite level in that gym. And Makhachev's at the top of that pile. Like, everybody in that gym is working towards where he is, and everybody in that gym's a killer. Like, I just don't know if you're gonna be able to find the same kind of look that you're gonna need to be able to deal with Makhachev. And I think now he's moved up to welterweight, I just think he looks physically so much healthier and stronger. You know, Ian Garry's a slick striker, but he needs to damage Makhachev. He can't play the 25 minutes of picking and poking, because Makhachev will get to him.
Islam Makhachev has spent years defeating elite contenders, overcoming former champions, and strengthening his legacy as one of the greatest fighters in the sport. Yet Ian Machado Garry approaches this opportunity without fear, convinced that he possesses the style and mentality to accomplish what no one else has managed to do. That sets up the biggest question heading into this showdown. Is Ian Garry's confidence the foundation of a historic upset, or is he walking into the toughest lesson of his career? If Javier Mendez is correct, the fight changes completely once it reaches the mat. But if Chael Sonnen's belief proves accurate, we could be watching the one challenger bold enough to disrupt Islam Makhachev's reign and permanently reshape the welterweight division. If you enjoy detailed MMA analysis, honest fight breakdowns, and predictions before the headlines explode, make sure to subscribe. When this blockbuster matchup becomes official, you'll already know the story behind the fight before the rest of the MMA world starts talking about it.